Stand. That's a crowd pleaser, huh? Boy, I mean, they want to take people's property. They want to not. They have renewable contracts you don't get to vet on. Anybody here for hydrofracking? They were actually carried out earlier, I guess, or other people were.
Stephanie thought hydrofracking.
Oh,
I know she was here last time. Remember, you guys were asking her about it, and she didn't know. Because she said she thought hydrofracking were me and her in a hot tub at the Waterell Scotland. That's what she thought hydrofracking was.
And she's right, by the way.
You know, on a good night.
This is really, it's really pathetic. And, people...
I guess it's the idea, because Stephanie and I were together last year, and
yeah, you are. You just think you were.
We were in the hot tub, honey, at La Tourelle. But neither one of us ever heard of hydrofracking. So they're out on stage. There was a question from the audience, and we both looked at each other.
There was a great movie. I'm sure everyone here has seen it. Gasland. Gasland.
Yeah, the documentary.
Oh, that is frightening. And that's when I first started understanding, A, how much water it takes, B, how much toxic crap is in it.
Yeah.
And now that you've flooded, you know, they put that, I'll just say, they put that shit in the waste pools, right? So, of course, when the flood waters come in, it knows the difference to leave the waste pool alone, right? That stuff's going to be, and the Finger Lakes is one of the most beautiful, beautiful areas of this country. I mean, it is going to just, you made the newspaper, I don't know if you saw it, that's why I brought the paper with me. I was on the plane, I was coming here, and I thought, it's kismet. Because I was sitting there reading this, and there's this story in the New York section of the New York Times about signing leases for drilling now having regrets. And it's from Dryden, right? It's local story.
All right.
But the story here is so bizarre because it says that people who signed the leases, well, there was two parts that freaked me out. One, they just want more money for it. They don't mind the hydrofracking, they just want more money. They think they got ripped off, right? Some. And the others are furious because it's like my agent's contract, it just renewed itself. Like you never signed it again, it's just like, oh, you just renewed. What? Yeah, just renewed. And people are wigged out because they signed for 5 years. And now the companies, the gas companies are saying, oh, force majeure. Meaning we didn't have a chance to drill. That's a force majeure, so the contract's just going to renew itself. People are stunned by that. I mean, did you really think you could trust, you know, T. Boone Pickens or any of his cronies or the Koch brothers? I don't understand why people would even sign these damn things. And the only hope you have, believe it or not, is either to sit on those wells, I mean in mass, or change the law. And good luck with that. Although I will say New York's pretty progressive. You did get gay marriage. Right? Congratulations.
And New York has done a hell of a lot better than Pennsylvania did when it comes to fracking. At least New York, I mean, New York is at least that hasn't approved it yet. Pennsylvania went hell-bent for leather for it. But I think I was encouraged by that article in one sense, in that there are a lot of people who recognize now how dangerous it is environmentally. They do not want to renew those releases. I'm not a lawyer, but if you got a 5-year lease and the lease runs out, that lease does not automatically extend itself. That means you got to go back and you have to renegotiate the lease, and that's the time for people to say, hell no.
Yeah.
Made a mistake in the first place.
But good luck with that, because, you know, look, these companies, you go up against them, they have so much damn cash. You're going to have to find, you know, like your own Aaron Brockovich, you know, like a law firm that does environmental law that will do this for you. Because they are going to fight this tooth and nail. That's what that article was about. I'll post it on Monday. That thing was just frightening, because these leases are over. And they did just automatically renew them, and they said, if you don't like it, take us to court.
Well,
take us to court.
And a lot of citizens here have taken them to court, and so...
This goes into the whole idea that how they like corporations more than they like people. Corporations are people, right? And this idea that, I mean, Democrats, what you have to do is keep playing over and over again, and Mitt Romney saying, corporations are people.
I do it every day.
You
are inappropriate.
No, I think they should be in prison for the rest of their lives, these corporations, as opposed to...
Draft them, draft them.
Draft them. Hey, let them have a mammogram. That's not fun either.
What's really amazing to me is the number of...
Make them pay taxes.
Yeah.
There's a good idea.
Make them actually pay their fair share, which apparently is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
The amazing thing...
Hillary is a socialist again.
The number of people,
the idea that they should.
The number of people who call my show, and we have a pretty open forum. We don't screen very heavily. Anybody wants to get on, and they
10
do.
o'clock at night, you know.
Yeah, and it's,
Your audience barely moves on top of it.
Yeah. Some of them are sober when they call, which is good. Every time, once in a while, we get a sober person. It's good. And and these people who are middle income or lower income people defending corporations and basically saying that because they think they're going to be rich one day, or for whatever reason they believe the horseshit they hear all day long on right-wing talk shows. They hear Glenn and they hear Michael and all these people all day long, and I come on and their heads explode, basically. I'm the only person to the left of Genghis Khan they often hear on some of the markets, which is why it's so great to have a progressive radio station. You actually hear different progressive points of view. But the fact that the people think that corporations are in their best interest, and I try to say, I trust government more than I trust corporations.
Amen.
And the government isn't operating from a profit motive. Like corporations just want to make your money. The government, actually, they forget Article 1, Section 8, that actually the government can work to promote the general welfare of the American people. They forget that because they hear the word welfare and they go crazy. But that's really what it is, and that is why when you talk about getting out there and making sure that we elect Barack Obama, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with everything he says or not, who is the better alternative? And here's the thing that never gets talked about during election time. Who do they put on the Supreme Court? You want to see a court where so far Obama's replaced 2 lefties with 2 other lefties, so to speak, but when next time they replace a lefty with a righty and the court's even more conservative, we have another Bush versus Gore, imagine what's going to happen then. So that's one of the most important issues, I think, who gets on the Supreme Court, which everybody should have in mind when it comes to voting for and getting out to vote on a presidential election day.
Yeah, that's huge.
The other point on the corporations, which I try to make a lot too, is reminding people corporate profits are higher today than they have ever been in our history.
And they're sitting on the money. They're not trickling it down.
Exactly.
Because we have a tax code that actually incentivizes that, I mean, when you had a 70% tax rate, you couldn't sit on your money because you pay 70% on that money. And now they pay them to offshore the money. And we beg them, we go, oh, please bring the money back. If you bring your money back, we'll only tax you at 5%. And the last time we did that, did they create one stinking job? No. What did they do? They paid their shareholders to prop up the stock price so the CEO could get another bonus. I mean, this is just like the endless loop of greed that, our tax code promotes. And that's what's so bizarre. And people actually say, lower tax, the conservatives are like, tax is a filthy, dirty word, and the only thing that actually creates an economy that works, a consumer-driven economy that works, is taxing these corporations so that they have to reinvest in themselves.
You see the Forbes list of 400. Number 4 and 5, Charles and David Koch. Combined wealth, you can boo on that one. I want our audience to be as active as that right-wing audience down. And
see, they're nice people. They don't boo people. This is a liberal, tolerant audience.
Combined wealth of $50 billion, right? And in the last year, they accumulated another $15 billion, and they're in wealth. They're leading the charge against Barack Obama, saying that he is the enemy of American capitalism and American business. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, by the time it took you to say that, they made another $1 billion. Just on the money. Really, it's insane.
What do they want? What do they want?
Well, I love the language now, right? It's so Orwellian. The job creators. The job
creators.
The job creators. Well, with this, they've had this tax code for 10 years, right? 10 years I'm sitting around going, where are they going to create a job? What does it take? I mean, like the wind has to blow a certain mile per hour in its direction, and the sun has to come up just so over the horizon, and the mood has to be right, and you have to have like 3 bottles of Americana wine, and then you have to be in Ithaca on a Sunday, and then I'll create a job. What are they waiting for? We're dying out here.
By the way, I noticed when you wouldn't boo the Koch brothers, but if you mention George Soros to a right-wing audience, there'll be bullets. By the way, I've worked for a lot of right-wing audiences because of working at the Fox News Channel, and they are packing, they have guns. I'll tell you, I brought, just to show you how mean-spirited the other side is, it got a little wet here, but Just the kind of email I get. Honestly, it's been a few hours.
If we start reading our email, we're...
No, honestly, this is unbelievable. This is quite conservative.
No, so you want Randy to read it?
I would love to see you run over by a cement truck. Thank you. You are as un-American as can possibly be stated. I hope you rot in hell with your little socialist friends. This is my boss, by the way. The great thing is that you're nearly a pest, as your ilk do not get their way. You are only a tremendous nuisance to normal mankind, just like your classless pal, Stephanie Miller. I'm certain you are covered in anal cysts. Particularly, I'm not making this up. Particularly your mouth, which is infected with such hate, unlike the person writing this letter. You no longer deserve any kindness. I hope you choke. This one just says, Jew.
But they love Israel, right? Yeah.
Let's do one more. I've got a whole bunch of them, but... Actually, I could barely get through security at the airport with these in my phone. One day, Mr. Combs, when you meet Jesus Christ, who's Jewish like me, thank you. Whether you believe it or not, you will answer for your myopic view of politics.
Myopic? What?
Politics, morality, economics, and faith to Him, the Creator. You will be judged by every word you speak, and I will be as well. You and Geraldo need to get off network TV and be sent to Siberia. They would appreciate your politics. From Helen in Fort Worth, Texas. Those are just people in my building.